Welcome to Real Talk with the Guru. Come for the real, stay for the laughs. Follow the show on WLEO 26.7 on your internet radio dial. And now it's time. Let's get into it. Come with it, Guru.
You know, I think I will. What's going on? Happy Tuesday, you guys. Welcome to another episode of The Real Talk with the Guru. I am your man, the Guru. I am sitting here on this wonderful Tuesday, and I wanted to just do my show today, and I have a great topic that we're going to get into. But before we get into all that, I want to say shout outs, greetings, and salutations. Hey, and salutations from to E-Digger and the guys over there at WLEO Radio 26.7 on your online radio dial. If you are listening to me on Facebook, that's great. If you are on the move, you download the WLEO app and listen to us via audio. Also the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, Kev and Quinn and all those guys, that has been kind of put to the side a little bit because I have other things going on. So that will come back here shortly. Also, my podcast mate, Tiffany Jones, Double D Mother, to most of you guys, we do a podcast called You Can't Make This Up. That goes live on tomorrow. Maybe she has some stuff going on. We're praying for her, praying for you, Tiff, if you're watching this. But we're going to get into the topic of today. The topic of the day is we're talking about the system, right? The system. Because how many stories have you guys heard in the news recently? And they're talking about how the system has failed our children, how the system has failed our children. I mean, you look at the story of Gloria Williams and Brian Coulter, who she had these kids, give you just a quick recap. Me and W talked about it last week on our podcast. This woman, despicable woman, left her kids in an apartment for 8 months, moved 15 minutes away from her children. But before they moved, the boyfriend, Mr. Coulter, decided to murder her 8-year-old non-verbal autistic son. Hey, if you are on Facebook, I do not see names. So if you do me a favor, just put your name in the comments. What's up, Richard? Put your name in the comments. That way I can know who I'm talking to. I can address properly. Make sure you do that. Please, that's for me. So yeah, despicable lady moved 15 minutes away from her children. Her 8-year-old son was with her other 3 boys in the house, rotting, right? And so the family did a hey, and hey, Steve, hey, Tim, I just shouted you out too, girl. And so she left her babies there. The baby was rotting, no power, no water. I mean, we can go on and on, right? But when we did a race me to, it was crazy. And so the family did an interview, right? And so the family spoke out about how they tried to get the babies and, all this other good stuff. But no matter how many reports you've seen or read, you always see someone saying, what did the system fail these kids again? Right? Well, I see you, Richard. I don't know why I see you, but I see you. The system has been atrocious to countless families. And the system has failed trillions upon trillions of times. I'm trying to figure out why in the world the system keeps failing these babies. How hard is it to make sure that these babies are safe and taken care of? How hard is it, right? I understand that this country is built on capitalism. I understand. I do. And everybody is in the pocket of everybody else, and they're trying to keep the money train going. I get it, right? But let me give you guys a little something personal, not to get too much in depth. Hey, who that was on Facebook, make sure you put your name in the comments so I know who I'm talking to. All right, and please make sure you share this broadcast out. Make sure you put this broadcast out, share this broadcast out to your friends and family on your timeline, Facebook pages, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to that channel while you're there. All right. So anyways, My son, you know, struggles a little bit, and we're looking into remedies to get him help in therapies and everything. And it's been a real trying experience, if I could say the least. And hey, hello Terry with an I. I'm not sure who that is, but name in the comments for me. Um, and it's been a really trying experience, and we're trying to figure out and navigate kind of money a way around. Hold on, I am not live on WLEO. I am so sorry. Welcome you guys on WLEO. So we were me and my wife. Well, she posted up something on her Facebook the other day that was very intriguing to me, and she said that um, how the financial gap is in this country is contributing to the system being all jacked, right? Uh, the judo system failure, failure, the CPS system failure, school system failure, psych doctors failure, insurance failure. None of these systems are designed to truly help the family, and that's Melissa, and that's my wife. Um, and it's really, hey, David, what's up, man? It's really been crazy. So we're trying to get him into some and get him some more therapy and get him, going, right? Um, the boarding school or however you choose. I really don't want to get into much detail, but boarding schools and things, military schools or whatever. Don't you? I don't know if you guys know it or not, but these boarding schools are charging college tuition for these babies, and I get it. I mean, they have things that they have to do and taking care of the kids and feeding the kids and boarding the kids. I get it, but some of these places are charging college tuition. Like we was looking at some 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year to put your child in residential therapy. Now, those of us who are not wealthy will have a problem, right? The rich go to boarding schools, the middle class and low class go to jail, get funneled into the system, and we're gonna get into that. I mean, because it's crazy to me. These babies who need help across the spectrum, rich, poor, whatever, good, bad, indifferent, they all need help. But it's infuriating because kids who are not on the wealthy end of the spectrum, just like my wife said, they was up, Quinn, they are forced to go to jail because they can't get help any other way. I'm going to post up a letter that my wife, you misspoke, 60 grand, 60K a year for therapeutic, and 20K a year goes for ones that are these church-led groups. Oh wow, that's still 60K. That's even worse. You help the case. 60K a year. But let me hold something. My wife has been sitting out, trying to get information for these boarding schools and this and that. This is how serious it's gotten. I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you this letter she received. I got her name scratched out, but we know it's her. But this is what she got. I'm gonna post this up real quick. All right. And this is what she got from a boarding school or some place. This is what she got. If you guys can read it, pause to read or whatever you need to do. But it said, "Thank you for getting in touch. Your son will need to be placed into state custody." Now we live here in Missouri, right? In order for our son to get some kind of therapy and help, he would have to be placed into state custody through the Missouri Juvenile Court System in order to be placed into our program. Once in custody, see the word. See, everything's about verbiage to me, right? Once he's in our, once in custody, the Division of Family Services must make a referral to me seeking residential placement with us. We are unable to place boys into our program without state involvement. When a child is in state custody, the state is responsible for the cost of the placement of the child, so the financial liabilities on the family is minimal. I can appreciate that. If this is an avenue you'd like to pursue, would suggest contacting your nearest juvenile office and Division of Family Services office to see if they can assist you with your son. I hope this information is helpful, and please let me know if you have any further questions. Now, you tell me how that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever read. So, hey, Ms. Grant, the system of CPS, I'm reading her comment here because she always sends me paragraphs when she's reading, when she sends me stuff. Let me see if I can read it. Okay, hold up. Let me put it on the screen there for you at some point. Okay. All right. So here's Ms. Grant. The system, CPS, DPS, fast foster care leaves children with dangerous people. And according to many Facebook-led family groups, places children with predators, according to GA Senator Nancy Schaefer, is trafficking and profiting off all children. And I get that this is a capitalist society, and everybody wants to make money. Everybody got their hands in the pockets of people, and I understand totally. I do, but I mean, Christ, man. How do when do we forget about the money and start helping these babies? This woman told my wife that she would have to sign over her parental rights in order to get my son the help that he needs. You know what I'm saying? Like she'll have to say legit, and then even when you do that, guess what? You get charged as a parent. You get charged for getting your son or daughter help. You know, and I understand Mrs. Grant's comment. I'm kind of glad she's here because she something me and my wife something last week. It was long, in book form. I didn't really feel like reading all that, but it's and I can appreciate you, Miss Grant, for doing that. But at the end of the day, the help that he needs, we know that we're not professionally girded to do. We just can't. That just and she was on the thing of child predators and things of this nature. Not every center and home is like that. I don't believe that's just me. But it's crazy to me. The letter should just read, I'm reading the comments now. Hey, you guys on WLEO, I appreciate y'all for listening. The letter should just read, you are poor. We know you can't afford it. Medicaid doesn't cover it. So you must sign your rights over so we can keep getting our paychecks to house your children and never truly help heal them. Sign yourself, truly. I mean, and it's not funny, but it's the truth. That's what it is. And then when you do sign your rights over, in the sake of helping your children, you get a charge. Neglect is a 5 year. I think it's, if I'm right, honey, I think it's 5 years. You say it's a 5-year charge of neglect where you cannot be around children and you cannot be around the elderly for 5 years if you get a charge of neglect. I think it's crazy. Yeah, there it goes. I think you can get a grant to help out. I'll get some help, and we're going to look into that. I was talking about her about that last night about getting scholarships or grants or whatever, and but it's crazy. Abandonment and neglect charge, abandonment and neglect charge with the CPS system on record for 5 years. 5 years. That's crazy. My education in schooling and social media, social work, trashed. All that, and she's done a lot to get her degree and go to school, and now trashed because of this system. Now, it's absolutely bananas to me. For profit boarding in specialty schools, residential placements, or even in the judgment recommendations, I would not sign over custody, and this is why. Let's see. This is why they surely know these programs are not safe, but also make money from placements to Pennsylvania. 2 Pennsylvania judges went to prison finally for the millions in kickbacks they got. And, but it comes off as hopeless to me. And I could be wrong here, but it comes off as hopeless to me because if I can't get my son help, guess what? He's either going to go to jail and get prison time before he even get any help, right? And if he goes to jail criminally, he ain't getting no help, no therapy there, right? So what are we left with? You know what I'm saying? What are we left with? We can't even going back to the price, right? We're talking about the gap between the wealth gap between African American families, Hispanics, white families, right? You know, it is what it is, Quinn. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. My screen. I can't even talk today. My screen real quick. See if I can get it pulled up here. This is the wealth gap, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me make it. See if I can make it bigger for y'all. Now this is back. This here, and my guys on WLEO can't see what I got up on the screen here, but this gap is from 1989 to 2016. Okay, the white black wealth gap. Right, if you guys can see it, just watching it on Facebook or or YouTube or wherever else. But if you can see that in 2016, the typical white family had about 10 times the wealth of the typical black family. Y'all see that? I mean, it's right there in black and white. It's $163,000 to. I mean, you can see it. And this is the white to black wealth gap. So these children that are in the African American family, we can't get the help we need because we can't afford it. Just like we were talking about earlier. When a boarding school, when you call up somebody, this is how much of a joke it is. And I see your comment, Damien. I'm going to read it in a minute. When they call you back because you want information, they call you and they call you back and say, well, our price is whatever it is, right? And then as soon as you say, well, ooh, or you make any kind of gesture, it's like, oh well, yeah, that's our price. 60,000. This is college tuition for these babies now. And just like my wife said earlier in the comments, is that you're not even guaranteeing that's going to work. But at the end of the day, though, what are we left with? Right? We have a system that don't help our children. You got a capitalist society. You got people in the hands of other people, in the pockets of other people to get this money. It's really crazy, right? Damien said on Facebook, the whole social work system is a joke. They are put in charge of way too many cases and they rush to close them. Mm-hmm. Damien said he had a foster child, and the system would not do what was right. They were more worried about closing the case than properly helping the children in the environment they were going back to. It's a shame, and it is. It's an absolute shame. And then if something happens to that child that you fostered, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be in the news. If something happens, Lord forbid, it's going to be in the news, and the first thing people are going to say is the system failed them. Right? Why is that a continuous headline? Why is that a continuous headline? Somebody said, I think that's probably my wife. She said, even if you take color out of it, you and I are middle class, right? That's got to be mine. We cannot afford the treatment that is needed for our child. Therefore, we are now out into a different class, and our kids suffer just like the low class. And she's right about that. And it's bananas. These kids have to suffer. There are so many kids. You know why? The society is so crazy because the society is full of, people that need help, psychotic folk, mass shooters, church shooters, schools, whatever shooter, is going on in this country. I can guarantee you 98.5% of those people probably needed therapy, didn't get it because they weren't in the right cap. Maybe there was some that were. Maybe I don't know. Missouri has a very well-known corrupt family and juvenile court system. Many proven corrupt judges. Check out judges named in this articles, and she's got articles out there to see if they are in your case. All judges in this one district were recused in this case. It's crazy. In the pockets of the capitalists because We want a piece of the pie. I get it. Hey V, so the state wants total control, and the kids will feel thrown away, resenting parents for their decision because there's really nothing isn't much of a choice. Dividing families when help is needed. Shaking my head. Now that is exactly what happens. I watched out the field a lot, and there are so many different people who these kids come on there and they're like, "Well, Mama, why'd you do that to me? Why'd you leave me? Why'd you do this? Because we wanted to help you." You know what I'm saying? What are we left with? That's the question, right? I just received a call from a finance company to help me get my child's treatment paid for. They are trying to trap us into this system, and we now fall back on our asses after we just dug ourselves out. It's a cycle. It's a broken system. But what do we do to save our children? That's the question. I want to, I want my son to, um, I want him to get all of the help and therapy that he needs, right? But I can't afford 60K, even though the job that the job that I have right now, I have the potential to make more than that. But I don't want, I don't want my child paying, I don't want my wife and I struggling, taking, loans out to pay for my son's therapy. And we're back in the same thing. We were back in the same struggle. It's crazy. It's not what's best for the child. They prove that time and time again. True, so true. It's a cycle, and it's so sad. And all you want to do is wrap your arms around your children and say, I want the best for you. How do you trust people? How do you, even if you were able to put your child in a boarding school or in a Catholic school or in military school or whatever, how can you relinquish that trust to someone else? I struggle with that too. But on the other side of the coin, and playing devil's advocate here, not even playing devil's advocate, just real life here. On the other side of the coin, the constant everyday torment that goes on, we have to smile and we have to grin and bear it. There are times my wife on Sunday, it was so bad. My wife on Sunday took a full mental day. You understand me? Didn't do nothing. Come out the room, nothing. It was just it's those kind of things that happens, and I have to give her those moments. I have to say, because I work outside of the home. She's here, right? So when it's like that, I have to let her have those mental days. But the struggle on the other side of the coin, and I hear, with the boarding schools and all that, I hear it, right? But on the other side of the coin, it's emotionally and mentally taxing on the other side of the coin, and it leaves you hopeless, and it leaves you to, what do I do? What choice do I have? I sign them away and let him roll on and let the state do it, and all that. We get to that point. We all do. If you're a parent, you listening to watching this, we've all have done that. Have gotten to that point when you said, you know what, I can't do this no more. I'm sick of this shit. That's exactly what excuse my French, but we've said that, right? But we know as parents that we can't give up on them. But at the same time, there's only so much that we can do. Some things are just out of our hands. Some things are just out of our control, and it's frustrating, right? You don't want to put your kid in a boarding school because you feel like he's going to be, abused and all that good stuff, right? All that bad stuff right there. I always say good stuff, but that bad stuff right there. I mean, you put him in a boarding school in the hopes that he's going to get his therapy, he's going to come back rehabilitated, and he's going to have everything that he needs, and he's going to be able to function in this society after. But a lot of the times it doesn't happen that way, right? So what are we left with? We're back in this vicious cycle. We're swimming upstream. We're trying to kayak through the rapids with no paddle. You can't do it. It's just it's like, what do you do? Right? My wife said there are no solutions. That's what we want to know. What is the solution to help change these lives of these families who are suffering due to broken systems in place? The corruption is real. Do you fight the government? Do you call your congressman, your senator? What did we do? You know, everybody. There are some folks that just feel like they have an answer and an opinion about everything. Okay, for those folks that, and I want you guys to hear me in the back. Those folks that always have an opinion and always have something to say and can tell me, please tell me how to fix this. Tell me how we fix this broken system. Can we? Okay. Tell me how to get my son the help he needs without us going broke. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how we can heal this as a family. See, it's with the wealth gap and with everything going on, there has to be a break someplace. Or this is a vicious cycle. What are we here for? My wife says this all the time. And what that's the question that she has in her head. She's always says, she said, well, babe, she says, why are we here? Why are we here? What are we doing all this for? You know? She says, don't tell me how to fix it. Link arms with us. Stand up. Be a voice, even if you don't live it. Exactly. Boom. Call to action. I like call to actions. They work. They seem to work. Let's do that. Let's link arms. Stand together. Because we have to do something. Right? Because it's not just, us going through it. There are thousands, probably millions of families and parents that are going through this right now, dealing with a broken system across this great country of ours, right? Dealing with a broken system. I know my reach isn't that far, and I get that. But for the folks that are in here, somebody's got to reach, right? We need to get this out here because I'm so sick of hearing these stories on the news. The system failed. The system failed. These kids are gone. System failed. Somebody got kidnapped. System failed. People get tired of hearing it all the time. When do we stand up and say, I want to help in this? I want to help in this. It's crazy. Certified trauma therapy is what is needed rather than juvenile court or placement out of our home. He's a survivor. How you get it and afford it? I don't know. I'm not sure who that was. Please put your name in the comments. I need to know that. I don't know if that's my wife or not. So many people, even in direct neighborhoods. It's all over the country. It's all over the country. All over the country. Certified trauma therapy. I'm gonna go back to that comment. It's home is what is needed rather than juvenile courts or placement out of home. He's a survivor. How you get it and afford it, I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure who that was. Please put your name in the comments. I want to address you directly. So it's here we are, and it's frustrating. And you want to take these. You want to take now. We've gotten some good, strong leads on some boarding places. Let me address this comment because they're not going to put the name in the comment. So here's the deal. Certified trauma therapy is home. I'm going to read that again, and I do apologize. Certified trauma therapy is home is what is needed rather than juvenile court or placement out of the home. He's a survivor. How do you get it and afford it? I don't know. Let me tell you something. I'm not sure. Okay. Thank you, babe. Miss Grant, I'm gonna explain this to you just as simply as I possibly can here without ruffling any feathers or sounding disrespectful. But I'm gonna say this with my whole chest. You don't live the life that we live, ma'am. You don't live our daily trauma, ma'am. You're saying to us, well, whatever's going on, suck it up. And whatever happens to him happens. We go through daily drama every day in this house. Some days are great, other days not so much, right? But your solution is, oh, don't send him to juvie. Miss Grant, if he commits a crime, he's going to juvie. Period. That ain't got nothing to do with us, right? But we try. What we try to do is we try to keep him out of harm's way, right? even in our attempts to keep him out of harm's way, we still get the grunt of trauma. We got trauma. We traumatized too. But for someone, and I love you, Miss Grant. I do. I'm gonna say that first. You do not live our life, my dear. You don't see the constant, everyday, the tears, the trauma, the frustration. You know, all of this. You don't see that. And for your response to be, oh, just get him certified trauma therapy. You want to come and do it? I'll wait. If you are volunteering to come to my home and give my son certified trauma therapy, my door is open. Then you can see, right? Then you'll be able to see. But to just give a solution like that and then drop it off, like, yeah, suck it up. He stays in the house. If you knew the whole story, you would not say that. We've had so many different professionals be in absolute awe because of our situation. And they're like, what? So certified trauma therapy is a good treatment. I believe it to be a good treatment. I believe that it'll work. But neither my wife or I are certified trauma therapists. So if you, ma'am, or anyone else that's watching and listening, if you know a trauma therapist, shoot them my way. I would love to have it. Looks like, let me view that comment. It looks like something was hit there. Let's see. Oh, that's my way. He needs the treatment. Staying in the home isn't an option. That's the unfortunate circumstance. We have done all that we can do in this home. The risk to the other children's daily lives have to be taken in the height. Thank you. Thank you. That's the wife, right? I know it's a constant, you know. And like I said, not to get into too much detail, and not to get into too much, tell y'all all of our business. I mean, but the truth is, we live this every day, and for somebody for anyone to say, oh, just do it at home. Yeah, just do it. It's okay. Nah, you don't live out. You don't live our life. I tell you what you do. Ask any of the folks back in Idaho. They used to run with us when we was out there. Ask them. They'll take. You know what I'm saying? Ask the folks that Melissa has connected with out here. Ask them. They'll take. You know what I'm saying? It's just not that. It's not that black and white. It's not that cut and dry. You understand? It's really not. But it goes back to the wealth gap. It goes back to the fact that we can't afford $60,000 a year. But then guess what? Just like the letter I read in the beginning at the top of the show here, the only way that he can get any kind of therapy and the state pay for it, he would have to be in state's custody. That means either a ward of the state or an inmate. How many parents in here want to sign your kid's life away? How many of us want to do that? We shouldn't have to, right? We shouldn't have to. The system shouldn't be broken to the point where you have to consider that to get your child help, right? My wife and I went through a whole gauntlet of options the other day. We were just talking. Well, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that, right? But we shouldn't have to have these options, these crazy, off the wall options, in order to get our son help, right? There's just no way. We should be able to say, okay, now we understand totally that there's a cost. We're not retarded. We're not crazy. We don't think, we fully understand there's a cost, right? But $60,000, I'm not sending my kid to Princeton. I'm sending him to boarding school. That's just what, I'm sorry. It's what that is. I'm not sending him to Princeton. That's crazy. Option one, sign your child into the juvenile system, then he can get residential. But that comes with a charge, neglect charge. Two, sign your child into state custody, then they will try to place him. Either one of those is a charge, I'm sure. But it shouldn't have to take all of that, though. Where are the places, the treatment centers that are truly for the children? Do they even exist? Is that oxymoronic? Is that whole thing? Is that oxymoronic? A residential treatment that actually cares about the children. Is that true? There's some truth to that. Is there anyone out there? I would love to hear. If you are listening to me and you're listening on WLEO or if you're on YouTube, whatever, if you know of a facility that you know that is for the children, please shoot that to me in the comments. Right? Send me an email, knuckleheadchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. Send it to me. Love to read it. Right? But the system at some point, the system has to stop failing these children. Because it's not just mine we're talking about here. We're talking about millions of kids who are sitting in juvie right now. I guarantee you 80%, 90% of those kids, all they probably needed was some therapy of some sort on some level, some kind of rehab stay, whatever, something to redirect. But like my wife said earlier, it's a funnel. We get them in juvie. They're guaranteed to go to jail. Unless your parents make $100,000 a year. Then you can go to boarding school. They get to walk around their pretty crisp uniforms, while the lower class kids get to sit and eat bread and pinto beans because they can't afford to send them to rehab. Okay, let me stop. Yes, charges for both of them. The issue is, why is the system failing their families that have to take extreme measures to help their child? If the CPS system won't take my kid because I'm not, if the CPS system won't take my kid because I'm not neglectful or abusive, why is the next step signing over my rights? That it is so extreme. That has been a question of mine for the longest. Like, we're not neglectful, we're not abusive, we don't do none of that. But in order for him to get help, though, we got to sign him over, and then there's a charge. I've always had a problem with that. How in the world are you going to charge me with neglect? I'm trying to get my kid help. I never gotten that. Yeah, look at that gap. I'm not sure what that is. You mean the wealth gap or my gap? I got plenty of gap to go around. Which one are you talking about? So how do we get to that place? I mean, how do we fix this? Can we fix this? Can we help the families out? I mean, it's the children need help. The family need help. The families need help. There are so many broken families that need to be healed from abuse, trauma, nonsense, fighting. I can guarantee you, every kid that's going through trauma and needs help, needs to be in rehab or whatever. For every kid that is going through that, there's a family behind it that is suffering every day. There is a family that's suffering every day behind it. And what's bad too is that it's so hopeless to where either choice is going to feel like the wrong one, right? Even if you decide to sign them over, let the state get them. That feels like that's pain, right? And then when you try to get them in boarding school or whatever, then you sign them over. You're scared to sign them up. You're scared to send them to boarding school or whatever because you're afraid that he might get hurt. There's pain there. So it's no, you know what I'm saying? But the system won't help the family know the child. That's bad. That's what's bad about it. And I'm not knocking anyone in the system that works for the system and they are an advocate. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't either, Quinn. I mean, it's just sometimes. I mean, I don't know. But like I said earlier, it shouldn't even have to be at that place to where we have to. But everybody's so money hungry, and everybody care. I mean, everybody care about the almighty dollar. That these kids are suffering, like suffering, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And I wish that I could call my congressman up. I wish I had him on speed dial and be like, "Yo, bro, dude, can you look at this down here? You know, can you look and into this social network? I mean, can you look into that? I mean, I'm pretty sure Queen say I'm pretty sure there's some nonprofits out there that would help too. I totally agree with you. And yep, I agree. I believe there are. But as soon as you put in that information, and they ask you, certain questions, what you do for a living, or oh, you do this? Oh, okay. Well, you're fine. You don't need us. You know what I'm saying? And not knowing what goes into my house and what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's a vicious cycle. Everywhere you turn, it's always something. And there's no way around it. There's no way of, trying to explain it or get better at it. But it's crazy. Yeah, yeah. They go right to, oh, well, you make this, but they don't know it's five of us in the house, and our rent is this, and we spend this much in utilities, and we spend this. They don't see they don't care, right? Again, broken system. You either don't make enough or make too much. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And it's crazy. There's no winning. It's like you're running around the rabbit wheel or the hamster wheel, and you just kind of just running. You're going in circles, and you can never get to a place of solidarity. You can never get to a place of we good here. We never get. I mean, but you know what though? I'm believing that uh, something is going to break. The system is at some point. I just firmly believe it. Even though it may not never happen in my lifetime, but I really believe that there is going to be some changes somewhere. Because there are too many kids walking around here, and these broken kids turn to broken adults. They don't get anything, and then here we are. This society will always be this way until the system decides that they want to fix itself, or somebody steps up and says, I am going to link arms with people. Let's develop a network. My wife is part of a Facebook group for autism mothers, and they link arms and they communicate. And they support each other and all that good stuff. We need a group just like that for these broken families that's been pissed on and pooped on by the system. And we have to make some changes. This is not just a Missouri problem. This is every state's problem. Every system is going through that, and it's got to stop. I'm tired of reading about school shootings and crap. I'm tired of reading about that. Well, that's what's in Congress now. But people that are conservative don't want it. Of course, they don't. They don't want that. No critical race theory, nothing. I get it, but the top 10% of this country are good. They can go and send their kid to $120,000 a year boarding school. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. So how do I help my kid? How do I help my kid? How do I keep my kid from being a statistic? Right? Because all they want is for him to be part of the state. Just like in the letter I read to you guys earlier. In order for him to get help, and it was clearly in the letter you read it, clearly says the only way he can get treatment, he would have to be part or a ward of the state or a juvenile delinquent in the system. In the system. Why would I put my kid in the system? That's a broken system. It doesn't make any sense. But I don't understand. But that's how this thing is shaking out. But I believe in God. So anybody that's in here, y'all know a word of prayer, send one up for us, man. And Let's link together. If you got no resources, shoot a brother an inbox. I don't mind doing it. But we have to get to the place where the system has to stop. We have to stop failing these children. We have to, because we're gonna raise, you know, Tupac had a great line back in the day, but I can't recollect in my brain. But it's we need to do something, or this society will not only not get better, it's gonna get worse. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have been awesome. The people that I'm not sure who's watched this. If you have watched this, please share this broadcast out on Facebook or wherever you share it at. I'll share your stuff with. But please share. Please share. Thank you for joining me another episode of the Real Talk with the Guru. And like I said, I'm your man, the Guru, right here on WLEO 26.7 on your internet radio dial. Sorry, I didn't run any commercials. I got too much in conversation. I apologize, sir. Next time around, I'll do better. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next week.
Listening to Real Talk with the Guru. Visit KnuckleheadChroniclespodcast.com and catch all the episodes from the podcast and radio show. Remember, we love you, but God loves you more.